Hello, this is a response to Sly Tiger, where he was talking about, I guess we could call them aliens, but that they're not like aliens from another planet, that they are like demons from hell. And I guess it depends on what your point of view is on, what is a demon? You know, I think that if we want to look, into biblical texts or even past accounts, I'm going to put a link in the description and you guys should go click that now and watch it and then head back here and then we'll talk because I need to give you a point of reference of what I'm talking about. Okay, so that explained, that if some being from that lives and exists in another dimension came into our dimension, it would first of all look very strange to us and probably very different than it looks in its own dimension, as we would look strange to the flat planers, where it would only show a slice of our body as we pop into their dimension. So I think that if something looks very strange, people tend to be afraid of it. So because it looks strange, I don't think that that means necessarily that it's evil, you know? And what is evil anyway? If something evolves on another planet or in another dimension, they may have very different values than us. I mean, we kill and eat other animals. So if they come here and they're superior to us and kill us and eat us, does that make them evil? Well, you know, you could say then humans are evil. It's all relative to your point of view. Uh, I did have a very strange experience in this house. I actually live in a UFO flap. If any of you don't know, a UFO flap is where there have been a lot of UFO sightings. And one of the most famous ones was the Hudson Valley UFO. If you go and click, I'll leave a link to that. And yeah, so go and click and take a look at that when you're done so you could see the UFOs that have come here. So my very first strange experience, now I don't know that what I experienced was aliens or demons. I'm just telling you what happened. I can't define it myself. So, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm certain, that I didn't. Well, I know that the first instance I did not imagine. I was wide awake and I saw what I saw. So it was the early morning hours, and each one of my experiences did happen in the early, between midnight and 4:30 in the morning. So I was up and I think I was watching a movie or doing something on the computer. And you know how you become almost like hypnotized? And often I'll stay up till the sun comes up. I, sometimes wake up and I can't go back to sleep. So I'll go on my computer. So I had my headphones on and I'm watching something and I'm looking down. And from my peripheral, there's a window off to my right. So I'm on my bed and there's a window off to my right. And when the sun comes up in the morning, it will, shine into my window. So I woke up and we had some electrical problems in my room. I live in a 300-year-old house. So my alarm clock wasn't working. So I didn't really know what time it was. I just sat up and started watching a movie and I wasn't really paying attention. So in my peripheral, lights coming in, and it doesn't really alarm me because I think, maybe it's the sun coming up. Then I look down and see the time and I get a little scared. And I look up and there is a bright beam of light hovering at my window. So the light was coming in and it was but an elliptical shape. It lit up so much that I could see the maple tree in my front yard lighting up. And literally like a beam of light coming in. It moved completely out of sight, but it looked almost daylight outside. That's why I thought it was the sun coming up. And then it went off to the right and I saw it shoot off. About 2 weeks later, there was a storm. And as I said, I had electrical problems in my room. So we had to run an extension cord from another room to my husband at the time's lamp. And so the lamp was only on his side of the bed. And I went to sleep. And it was completely pitch black in the room. But I went off to sleep. And when I awoke, there was a crazy thunderstorm. Thunder and lightning out. And I sense a presence in the room, like standing right next to my bed. I could have been asleep. I could have dreamed this. And it felt very strange. When you when you were a kid and you would rub your head on a balloon and it would cause all the hair it was like that. It was very strange. But I remember being afraid, and when lightning would happen, the room would kind of light up from the window. And there is this strange, we'll call it being. I couldn't really make out everything, but I could see like a silhouette in the darkness. Plus, I had a window off to my right, so that light illuminated it. So I had windows behind me and to my right. So when lightning would illuminate, I would get the backlight from that. The being, I know it sounds crazy, it was, at that time, it was over 10 feet tall by my estimation. I was laying down, terrified. And all of a sudden, I hear my own voice. I don't know how to describe it. It was very strange. Like I said, it could have been a dream. You know, I thought I had lost my damn mind. Uh, the thing was 10 feet tall. Um, so it said to me, but not with this mouth. I don't know how to explain it. Um, why am I afraid? And I remember communicating, you're coming into my house. It's completely dark. I'm like, please don't, please don't. I was afraid. I was terrified. I was paralyzed with fear more than anything. And I said, it communicated that it was going to touch me, I remember, or something. And I said, please don't, please don't. Can I at least turn the light on? It's dark. I'm afraid it's dark. I can't see you. And they communicated to turn the lights on. And of course, I start explaining to the thing. I know this sounds so freaking outrageous. I explained to the thing that we had an electrical problem in the room and that I was waiting on being able to afford an electrician to run new electricity. Just as that happened, I mean, it was pitch black, mind you. My husband's sound asleep. I wake up with this, I would describe it as a giant bug. It wasn't a giant bug, but that's the closest thing that I could use from what I have seen to compare it to. It had eyes that were domed above its head. It had a very pointy face. I drew a sketch of what this thing looked like. Now, this is what it looked like when it was sitting down. And when it was, see how the legs are up? I know it looks like a strange vagina. But no, these are the arms. And the arms were not like regular shoulders. The arm sockets came out of the front of it. It was weird. And it had a strange, appendages, but they were fingers. They were fingers, but see how it's almost like squatting? If it came up and stood upright, that's when it was 10 feet tall, this thing. So I have a 10-foot bug in my room standing by my bed. Yes, I've fucking lost it. But what makes me question whether this was just a nightmare or some kind of sleep paralysis is that it said, don't be afraid. And it reached out to touch me. And I still remember how the appendage felt and everything. It was bizarre. It felt like, I would say it was firm. There was like a bone structure underneath the flesh, but I would describe it as like a frog belly kind of texture. Yeah. And it grabbed me. And I guess, at the time, maybe I thought that it woke me up, but all the lights in the room came on. I swear to God. Like, we had an electrician there already diagnosing what the problem was. The light in my closet came on. The TV came on. All the electrical stuff in the room. Music was blasting. Like, everything came on at once. It scared the shit out of me. It still scares the shit out of me when I think about it. I haven't slept in the dark since, let's put it that way. My husband woke up freaking out like, what the fuck? I told him what happened, and he's more of a scientific kind of person. He's like, okay, you had a bad dream, but it freaked him out because the electricity was on. You know? Like, there wasn't even the old fuses? There wasn't even a fuse down in that pole. You know how each room will have its own section? There wasn't even a fuse in the fuse box. So how did it work? It worked. It worked for about 2 weeks and then it just went out. It was weird. Like it was weird. If the electricity thing didn't happen, I would have written it off to a dream, when I was startled awake. But it didn't. And a couple of more experiences followed. Those felt like it's very strange and hard to describe. Let me put it this way. If this is happening, the reason why there's not much evidence is because they remove the person from this dimension with their technology, some kind of technology. And take you to another dimension. So, of course, there's not going to be any evidence here, And, yeah, I haven't shared this with anybody. I know it sounds really crazy. Here's the thing, it's not so crazy if it's a dream. But I can tell you that the electricity thing, what do you think that was? What could